Welcome. Today we're jumping straight into a really fascinating chapter of the Bible, Jeremiah chapter 46. Our plan is to unpack the prophecies we find here, especially the ones about Egypt and its pretty intense encounters with Babylon back then. What can we learn from looking closely at these ancient words?
Yeah, it's a powerful chapter. Jeremiah is prophesying during a really chaotic time. You've got empires clashing, things are unstable, and Judah, where Jeremiah is sort of stuck in the middle. This chapter, though, it really zooms in hard on Egypt's fate, particularly facing Babylon.
And it doesn't just talk in generalities, does it? Right at the beginning, it anchors the prophecy to a specific event. It says it's concerning Egypt, and specifically about Pharaoh Necho's army getting defeated. It even tells us where, Carchemish on the Euphrates River, and when, the 4th year of Jehoiakim, king of Judah. That's quite precise. You can actually, look that up.
Oh, absolutely. Carchemish, around 605 BC, historians reckon that wasn't just some minor battle. It was huge, a real turning point. Egypt had been a major power in the area for ages, often getting involved with places like Judah, but Nebuchadnezzar and the Babylonians, they dealt Egypt a massive blow there. It pretty much ended Egypt's serious influence up in that region and cemented Babylon as the new big player. So yeah, it's a real historical event the text uses as a launchpad.
And the description before the battle, it's so vivid, you can almost see it. Prepare your shields, large and small, march out.
Yeah.
Then harness the horses, mount the steeds, helmets on, polish your spears, put on your armor. It paints this picture of a formidable army getting ready. Confident, maybe.
It really does. Meticulous preparation, every detail covered: shields, horses, armor. They look organized, powerful, completely ready. An image of, like, peak military might. But then, whoosh, the text just flips the script immediately.
Yeah, it goes straight from that build-up to sudden collapse. It asks, what do I see? And the answer is, terrified. They are retreating. Their warriors are defeated. They're running in haste without looking back. And that phrase, terror on every side, it's a complete turnaround, isn't it? From order to just chaos.
The speed is jarring. 1 minute, all geared up; the next, pure panic. Terror on every side that's not just being a bit scared, it's overwhelming, inescapable fear. And the text makes a point that even their best can't escape. The swift cannot flee, nor the strong escape. Their fastest runners, their toughest fighters, nope. They just stumble and fall right there by the Euphrates in the north. Done.
So right away, you get this sense from the text about, well, the limits of human power, even military power, all that preparation, all that gear.
Yeah.
It just crumbles instantly when it hits what the text presents as something bigger at play, a divine outcome, maybe.
Exactly. Human effort is shown, but it's just swept away. The text is setting a theme, really.
Wow.
Even a powerhouse like Egypt, at its most prepared, is vulnerable.
Then the focus broadens a bit, from just the army to Egypt itself. And the imagery there. Who is this that rises like the Nile, like rivers of surging waters? And it answers itself. Egypt rises like the Nile. Then it quotes Egypt saying, I will rise and cover the earth. I will destroy cities and their people.
That's incredibly potent imagery, especially back then. The Nile wasn't just water, it was Egypt. Its flood was this unstoppable, life-giving, but also overwhelming force. So comparing Egypt to the Nile, it captures Egypt's self-image perfectly. This dominant, unstoppable force, thinking it can just roll over everyone. It speaks volumes about their national pride and ambition.
And they weren't planning on doing it alone. The text mentions allies, right? Men of Cush and Put who carry shields, men of Lydia who draw the bow. A coalition.
Right, mercenaries or allied troops adding to that picture of strength. But then, straight after Egypt's big talk, the text hits back with a totally different perspective. It declares very clearly, that day belongs to the Lord, a day of vengeance. It frames the whole thing not just as politics, but as divine judgment. The sword isn't just Babylon's. It's an instrument that will devour till it is satisfied. And the defeat, it's called a sacrifice in the land of the north. That really shifts how you see the event.
So that's another layer, isn't it? The text sees these huge historical moments like an army's collapse through a theological lens. It's not just about tactics or troop numbers. There's a claim of divine purpose overriding human plans.
Precisely. Egypt thinks it's the Nile, but the text says, nope, this day belongs to the Lord and the outcome serves his purpose. And the futility of Egypt trying to fix things afterwards is stressed too. Go up to Gilead and get balm, but you multiply remedies in vain. There is no healing for you. Gilead was famous for its healing balm. It's saying, no matter what cure you try, this wound, this humiliation, it's incurable.
Just total helplessness in the face of this judgment. And it's public, too. The nations will hear of your shame. Everyone's going to know.
Oh yeah, it wasn't hidden. It reshaped the whole region. and the chaos is hammered home again. One warrior will stumble over another, both will fall down together. It's not an orderly retreat, it's a mess. Soldiers tripping over each other in panic. It echoes that terror on every side, just complete breakdown.
Okay, so that first section paints this vivid picture of Carchemish as divine judgment. But then the prophecy shifts, doesn't it? It moves from that battle far away to a direct attack on Egypt itself by Nebuchadnezzar. And the instructions are specific. Announce this in Egypt, proclaim it in Migdol, proclaim it also in Memphis and Tahpanhes.
And naming those cities Migdol, Memphis, Tahpanhes, that's significant. These weren't small towns. Migdol was a key border fort. Memphis, a major ancient capital. Tahpanhes, another important city. Mentioning them makes it clear the judgment isn't just happening out there anymore. It's coming right to the heart of Egypt.
And the state of their soldiers facing this, it sounds depressingly familiar. Why will your warriors be laid low? They cannot stand. Why? For the Lord will push them down. They stumble repeatedly. They will fall over each other. It's like Carchemish all over again, but on home soil.
It is, isn't it? That image of stumbling, falling over each other, it repeats. Reinforces that sense of undignified collapse. And again, the text points the finger. The Lord will push them down. It's not just presented as Babylon being strong. It's the Lord's power enabling the invasion. And this time you get this really human detail, the defeated soldiers actually talking. They're saying, get up, let us go back to our own people and our native lands, away from the sword of the oppressor.
That's powerful. It really captures the complete breakdown of morale. They're not thinking about fighting back. They just want out. Run away. Go home.
It shows the psychological impact, doesn't it? The army, their whole fighting spirit just shattered. All they want is to escape the Babylonians, the sword of the oppressor.
And Pharaoh himself. The text's assessment is pretty brutal. He's only allowed noise. He has missed his opportunity.
Yeah, loud noise suggests a lot of talk, maybe threats, but nothing behind it. All bluster, no substance when it actually counted. And missed his opportunity. Maybe chances to act differently, to resist earlier, or avoid this whole confrontation. It's a damning judgment. And in contrast to Pharaoh, the loud noise, the text describes the coming invader Nebuchadnezzar using these huge, solid images. He'll come like Tabor among the mountains, like Carmel by the sea.
Tabor and Carmel, prominent mountains, impossible to miss. So the invader is going to be this massive, unavoidable, unstoppable presence, completely overshadowing Pharaoh.
Exactly, a stark contrast between the Egyptian leader's image and the described reality of the threat.
And the consequences for Egypt, pretty dire. People told to pack your belongings for exile. Memphis, that great city, will be laid waste and lie in ruins without inhabitant. Just empty.
It's a picture of total devastation hitting right at Egypt's core. And the imagery used in this section is just relentless. A whole series of metaphors. First, Egypt is a beautiful heifer, seems strong but vulnerable. And then this tiny but persistent irritant comes. A gadfly from the north.
That's striking, isn't it? A big animal driven crazy and routed by something small and annoying. Shows how power can be undone unexpectedly.
Exactly. The strong nation harassed into fleeing. Then the mercenaries, remember them, they were like fattened calves looking strong. But here, they turn and flee together, can't stand their ground.
And Egypt itself, earlier it was the mighty Nile. Now, it's reduced to hissing like a fleeing serpent as the enemy advances, trying to escape, making this frantic sound.
A real downgrade in imagery. And the enemy isn't just advancing, they come with axes, like men who cut down trees.
Yeah, and that image gets expanded. They'll chop down her forest, dense though it be, so even Egypt's strongest defenses, like a thick forest, will be systematically cut down.
Total dismantling. Complete clearing out, and the enemy's numbers are stressed again, showing how hopeless resistance is. More numerous than locusts, they cannot be counted, like a locust plague, just wiping everything out through sheer numbers. That's the kind of overwhelming force described.
So you put all that imagery together, the heifer and gadfly, the fleeing calves, the hissing serpent, the axes, the forest, the locusts, it just paints this picture of utter humiliation, complete, unavoidable destruction.
It really underscores the text's view that this isn't just a defeat, it's a total takedown of Egypt's power, its identity. And the result is stated flatly. The daughter of Egypt will be put to shame, handed over to the people of the north, the Babylonians.
And the judgment hits everything, not just the army or the king. The text says it falls on Amon, god of Thebes, a huge deal, a major Egyptian god. It's on Pharaoh, on Egypt itself, on her gods, her kings, anyone who relies on Pharaoh, all handed over to Nebuchadnezzar.
That's so important for understanding the text's perspective. The judgment isn't just military or political, it reaches into Egypt's spiritual core. By saying the judgment is on their gods too, the text is asserting the absolute supremacy of the God doing the judging over even Egypt's own deities. It's a total judgment against their entire system, military, political, religious.
Wow, yeah, that's comprehensive. But then, right after painting this picture of absolute ruin, there's a twist, isn't there? A line that says, "Later, however, Egypt will be inhabited as in times past, declares the Lord."
Yeah. It's pretty stunning, right? After all that intense language of destruction, emptying the land, this one sentence offers a glimmer of future restoration. The judgment is incredibly severe, total in scope, but this suggests it's not necessarily permanent extinction. Egypt might eventually recover, be lived in again. It puts a kind of limit on the finality.
That is quite a turn. Devastating, but not forever. Okay, but the chapter doesn't stop there. It changes focus completely, offering a different message for Jacob, my servant, for Israel.
And this contrast is really stark. While Egypt, the empire, faces this overwhelming, though maybe temporary judgment, Israel, even though they're scattered, exiled, they get words of reassurance. They're told, do not fear, do not be dismayed. There's a specific promise. I will surely save you out of a distant place, your descendants from the land of their exile.
So even in exile, they're promised a future, security, return. Jacob will again have peace and security, and no one will make him afraid. That sounds very different.
It's a critical difference in how the text presents God acting. Egypt, the mighty, faces ruin. Israel, the scattered, faces discipline you but only with justice, but gets this unwavering promise of preservation. The text explicitly says, though I completely destroy all the nations among which I scatter you, I will not completely destroy you.
That is a sharp distinction. Judgment for other nations like Egypt could mean utter destruction. But for Israel, even within judgment, there's this promise. I won't completely destroy you. Eventual return.
It really highlights the unique relationship portrayed between God and Israel in this text, contrasting it sharply with the fate described for other powerful nations like Egypt.
Okay, that was quite a deep dive through Jeremiah 46. We saw Egypt's pride and preparation at Carchemish, followed by that shocking defeat framed as judgment. Then the prophecy of invasion, filled with those incredibly vivid, almost brutal images of destruction and shame. We saw the judgment extending even to their gods, and then that little surprising hint of future recovery for Egypt. And finally, the totally different message for Israel: discipline, yes, but ultimate preservation and hope.
Yeah, the key takeaways really are that incredibly powerful imagery, the Nile, the serpent, the forest, it makes it stick with you. Also, that stark contrast between Egypt's perceived strength and its actual fate, according to the text. The sense that human power has limits, and how deep the judgment goes, hitting even the gods, showing the text's view of ultimate authority. Plus, that surprising twist of Egypt's eventual recovery, set against Israel's guaranteed, though disciplined, future.
It definitely leaves you with a lot to process. What part of this ancient text resonates most with you listening? Is it the sheer drama of empires rising and falling, the powerful imagery, the ideas about human pride versus divine purpose? These themes feel quite universal, even through this specific lens.
And maybe a final thought to chew on after this exploration. This chapter sets up a really interesting contrast. You've got mighty Egypt facing this near-total, but ultimately reversible, devastation. Then you have Israel, scattered and disciplined, yet promised survival and restoration. What might this fundamental difference in their predicted paths, as presented right here in Jeremiah 46, suggest about how this text understands divine justice, maybe ideas like covenant and the ultimate destiny of nations? Something to think about.